exhibition, which was changing every 50 years, but during that exhibition we can see lots of really nice things. So I would also like to tell you that in the Hermitage we are going to see the main highlights. Of course, first there will be a panoramic tour, and we'll see the main highlights like the gala halls, where there were receptions of the tsars. We are going to see the Hall of Glory dedicated to the War of 1812, the war against Napoleon. We are going to see some more like private halls. We are going to get acquainted with Italian and Dutch collection. And after that, well, if you get tired, I'm sure that you need some time for rest. We can go to the cafeteria to have a cup of tea or coffee. And some of you who are interested in the Hermitage will have some time to enjoy the collection on your own if you think that the panoramic tour is not enough for you. So we'll have some time in the Hermitage, and well, after that we'll go and continue our sightseeing tour in St. Petersburg, and we'll go on a boat trip. So that is our program for today. I would like to tell you that the museum is really big, but I would like to start from the very beginning, from the very foundation of this place. And I should start with the period when Elizabeth I entered the throne. Elizabeth I was the daughter of Peter the Great. She ruled Russia from 1741 to 1761. Before Elizabeth, there was no stable place for the winter residence for the Russian Tsars. They just didn't have it. But as we know, in terms of Elizabeth, there was going a huge construction. Well, lots of things are being built, were being built at that time, and the chief architect who was responsible for all the construction was an Italian architect who mostly worked in Russia. He's particularly known in Italy. Francesco Bartolomeo Rastrelli, who created a great amount of different palaces for Elizabeth. And so one day she decided to have her own winter residence in St. Petersburg, in the capital of Russia. So, in 1752, they started building that residence. She wanted to move there, but it didn't happen because she died before the end of the construction of the palace. And so her follower, Catherine II, became the just owner of the palace. So she was the first lady, the first empress who started living in the winter palace. That's how the main winter residence of the Russian Tsars is called. But Elizabeth was a great connoisseur of art. She loved paintings. She had very good and close relations with philosophers of Europe like Voltaire and Diderot, and so she decided to have her own beautiful collection of paintings. So in 1764 she acquired a collection of 225 paintings of Baron Gatskovsky, and it means that she That was the beginning of the collection, and 1764 is considered to be the birthday of the museum, the Hermitage. The palace, the Winter Palace, according to the opinion of Catherine II, was not the right place to for her collection, to put on display her collection. She thought that her collection had to be placed in a special palace that had to be built especially for her, for that collection, and so in 1760. So they started building the next palace next to the Winter Palace, a small palace actually, only for the collection. That palace was called Hermitage, and that's where this name came from. Hermitage is a French name. It means a dwelling of a hermit, an isolated place, a place for a monk. So that's how it can be translated from French into Russian. And that Hermitage palace was really quite an isolated place. Catherine lived there all alone, at least she thought like that, because, well, of course, she didn't take into consideration the servants who were surrounding her in the palace, and she even wrote in her diary, "Only I and mice can admire all these treasures." So just imagine how she lived all alone in that small palace, which is really quite small in comparison to other palaces of the Hermitage complex. In terms of Catherine II, there appeared two more palaces, which are called